All right, it was 1 year ago this morning that Russian troops poured into Ukraine, launching a full-scale invasion of that country. And to mark that morning, in the capital of Kyiv, Ukraine's President Zelensky spoke to soldiers and families of fallen troops. In an address to his nation, he congratulated his people for fighting back and vowed to defeat Russia's military this year. 60 Minutes visited the city of Kherson, which Russia brutally occupied for 8 months until Ukraine's army forced a retreat back in November. The recapture of the city lifted hopes all across Ukraine, but Holly Williams found the people of Kherson continue to live their lives under fire.
The whole thing's underground.
It's too risky for Mayor Halina Luhova and her team to work in the town hall.
Secretary here.
So the administration of a city the size of St. Louis has been crammed into this basement.
There are a lot of problems we have, and you see the people who solve them. And I'm just noticing it's nearly all women. There are a lot of women here also, yes, that's right. Дівчат, у нас багато, дівчата!
They've had to improvise. To keep the buses running, parts have been salvaged from those hit by shells. And the heat at this hospital is off most days, so that wisps of steam don't catch the attention of Russian artillery spotters.
I've heard that you like to describe Kherson as invincible, neslamne.
Neslamne.
Why did you choose that word?
We are unbreakable. All the people of Ukraine are unbreakable.
And Holly Williams is with us now at the table. Holly, you've been covering this story for the full year since the invasion, and you were covering the conflict prior to that as well. With what you know, what is the most important thing Americans should know about the people of Ukraine?
Well, Tony, Ukrainians never wanted this war. They're being killed, sometimes in their own homes. They desperately want peace, but they are not willing to hand over a chunk of their country to Vladimir Putin in the hope that he then leaves them alone. I mean, just imagine a similar situation in the US. Imagine there was a bigger, more powerful country that invaded the US, killed a lot of Americans, and then some people said, you know, maybe you should hand over Minnesota.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys should hand over Montana, and then maybe they'll stop killing Americans. I don't think that people in this country would agree to that, and Ukrainians don't either.
Speaking of what the American people want to know in this time of economic hardship, financial instability for a lot of people, I think people at home want to know, why are we pouring so much money, resources into Ukraine? How do you answer that?
Right. So I think this is not just about Ukraine. If Vladimir Putin is allowed to take a bite out of Ukraine, what's to stop him doing it next time to another country? What's to stop another authoritarian-minded regime? China, say, looking at that and saying, well, you know, we might start to do the same thing.
Right.
So the US and its friends believe that if Vladimir Putin is allowed to get away with invading Ukraine, then it makes the world a much less stable place, a much more dangerous place for everyone, including Americans. And that's why they're giving so much aid, billions of dollars in aid, including military aid, to the Ukrainians.
You always hear talk about the rule-based order, and if that collapses, we may feel safe and snug here across an ocean in America, but it'll have economic ripple effects that would touch us and other consequences we can't even imagine.
Exactly right, yeah. And maybe conflicts that America does get drawn into.
All right. Holly Williams, thank you for your reporting. Great to see you here in person.
Good to see you too.
You can watch Holly's report this Sunday on 60 Minutes right here on CBS.